producer, overlord of the show, David Greenwald. We have director and executive producer, Naborda Barba. We have two executive producers right there as well, Todd Milliner and Sean Hayes. Sean, glad you made it. Sean was driving in circles around the building while the video was going on, so we're glad he's here. We have our Grimm himself. Fitzy Tulloch next to him. Everyone's favorite Greek boxer, Cyrus Mitchell. Turner. This is a long call. Russell Hornsby. Reggie Wade. And Sasha Royce. Alright, let's jump into this. Producers, all you people right here. I need to know where this concept came from, because it's not like it's just a fairy tale adaptation. You actually took a procedural and fairy tales and mashed them up, and how did that work?
This concept came from a man named Todd Milliner who was taking a shower about 6 years ago.
Thank goodness.
And he was thinking, what's in public domain? Correct me if I'm wrong. And he thought about the Canterbury Tales.
Well, first I thought, I was washing myself. I wasn't. I was just thinking of ideas.
Were you alone in the shower?
Sean was loofah-ing my back. All good ideas come from. You don't know anything about the business, get a good loofah and a nice bit of water pressure.
Todd had this great idea that to take the Brothers Grimm and to do a modern retelling of the Brothers Grimm and have somebody in our modern world somehow interacting, fighting crime, doing something, and he called me in. And when I heard the idea, I said, I must come out of retirement immediately because I love this idea. And Jim Kauf joined me. And Jim came up with this terrific idea that you would see inside the child molester, the big bad wolf, this whole idea of the critters and how they exist inside all of us. So that's the genesis.
Nice. Now, why? It seems like some episodes are actually direct comparisons to Grimm fairy tales, like the Pied Piper one is very similar. But then there are some plot lines that just are kind of vaguely fairy tale-ish. The one I'm thinking of is, I think it's Happy Ever Aftermath. It's kind of Cinderella, but it's not. So why the decision to sort of go off the rails with some of the fairy tales?
Well, again, I blame Todd and Sean because they sold the network that there's 200 Grimm fairy tales, but some of them are like the sausage and the donkey go to town.
Save that for season 5. Okay. All right. So, and this is kind of a follow-up to that. There are some fairy tales that don't involve animals. Like, obviously, it's when you're doing something with Little Red Riding Hood, the animal you have is a wolf. But these Vesson are changing into animals that don't exist in some of the fairy tales. So how do you come up with that decision?
Tell him, Jim.
It depends on the story. And a lot of the fairy tales we think of as actual stories that are happening now. And a lot of crime that happens now has kind of a weird, strange fairy tale aspect to it. So we latch onto that and try to describe who would do such a crime. And that's how we come up. We spent a lot of time looking at books, German language books, and trying to come up with strange names that define our characters.
Do you pick some of these animals just based on how cool their name is in German?
Well, we make up the names sometimes. Sometimes they don't. It's not always a literal translation. So, but we love the way they sound in German for sure.
Now, you shoot the show in Portland, but you actually set the show in Portland as well. Why that decision? Because it didn't necessarily have to be Portland just because you were shooting there.
Well, the Grimms were the stories were based in the Black Forest of Germany, and Portland was one of the places that actually matched the original location for the stories, and we thought that would be a great place. It's very fairy tale-like up there, with the moss on the trees and the deep, dark forests and things like that. And so we couldn't really shoot it in LA.
It's not very green in LA. All right, let's go over to our lovely cast members over there. So, David, you basically carry the weight of this show, and you're a total badass in it. But do you think the real reason you got cast in this role is because you can perfectly act as if you're watching someone's face change into a wolf, even though nothing is actually happening?
Listen, you said it. You know? I don't think I necessarily carry the whole show. The cast is awesome, and thank God. You know? And of course, you know, the writing is fantastic, and they dream up all these things, and but yes, I've gotten very good at watching a face morph, but it's not really a face, it's just an X on a stick behind the camera.
It's just like in the show.
Hey, that's a patented look.
Nice. Bitsy, you're very much, you know, the love interest, ingenue, shall we say, fairy tale princess of the show. But were you excited to find out that Juliet just wasn't a damsel in distress, that she got to do some of her own ass kicking?
Yeah, I was really, maybe like overly excited on the episode when they gave me a gun, and the props guys were having a really hard time even prying it out of my hand. It was so fun. And then when I got to beat up the Damon viewer, that was fun too.
That's when I fell in love with your character.
It does.
Quite honestly.
Sexier than a gun, kids.
Yeah, when you had that great line when she was like, now it's your turn to scream, and you're like, no, now it's your turn. Headbutt. I was like, all right, I love her. I'm sold. All right. Okay, we need to clear up something about your character. Because your character's name is just Monroe. Like Cher. It's one name. Right?
Yes.
So don't try to add names onto it. Now, you state many times in the show that you're not an encyclopedia for Vesson, but in reality, you kind of are. So, do you feel like you have to be that in real life? Because I picture out of everyone sitting at this table, you're the one who people probably come up to on the streets and go, oh, you're the dude from that show. Tell me about all the different Vesson. Go.
I certainly love language, and I love, you know, it's fun because it almost feels like the writers challenge us with these insane faux German constructions that we have to do, and it's sort of like rising to the challenge of saying, you know, Lausenschlang Eisbiber, so yeah, there's definitely a fun element of the words and the language, but I also think in the story, for someone who is a Vesson, you grow up just sort of, that's part of your world. So maybe not encyclopedic, but certainly more of that realm than a Grimm. Certainly a Grimm who just found out he's a Grimm. You know, he'll get there.
Speaking of German, did any of you at this table have to take German or study German for this show?
Bree, you're fluent, right?
How about the creators?
Well, there's like a dialect coach who emails you. She says it, and she says the literal translations, and then phonetically and everything before you have to actually say the word. Which I kind of do all at once.
That's true, and she also adds that she gives you the German word, the Americanized German word, and the Grimmish word. So we have this new thing happening.
I actually took German for 5 years. I can say 2 sentences, but it's really interesting watching the show because when you do say some of these words, I can figure out what they're supposed to be.
Oh, cool.
You know, the words are that close to actual German, I guess, which is nice. Not that I'm any expert on that.
The writers take real German words and kind of rearrange them or put them in orders that they aren't normally, but a lot of it is real German rearranged, which is fun. It's not totally made up.
So, Brie, your character came on in what seemed to be maybe just a few show arc, and now you're actually a series regular on the show. So, was it hard to jump into this cast? Because it seems like this cast from day one was pretty solidly locked in, and then you kind of came in halfway through. Was it kind of hard to get in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my first episode was 115 or something like that, around there, and 22 in the season, so it's pretty well into the bond of the group. But I'm telling you, I've done a lot of jobs, and I have never been so seamlessly integrated into a show than this one, and it's a total testament to the cast as people and the people in charge, everyone in charge just comes from the top, and it's just a really unifying show. And I think shooting in Portland has made it very special for everyone in terms of staying just really in the world and just being together as a unit and looking out for each other. And it's been the best job of my career so far. So it's been really great.
Okay, Russell, since you are one of the few non-vested, non-Grimm, shall we say, regular people on this show, do you feel like Hank is just in his own episode of CSI Portland?
Yes, but things, they are changing. Absolutely.
Are you excited to what appears to become a part of the actual legacy that's going on here?
Yeah, I'm just, I think Hank is trying to get his sanity back. Seeing a creature morph or whatever right in front of your eyes, I think it's sort of taking him off center, just a little bit. So, he's first having to sort of go to therapy and bare his soul for a little bit and just sort of figure out where he is. And then when he gets back to one, we'll see where he goes from there.
Do you think he might be one of those people who wished he hadn't found out?
We'll see.
Okay, Reggie, do you think Sergeant Wu will ever get in on the action, or is he always going to be the misfortunate comic relief?
Hopefully Sergeant Wu will get a first name in the second season. I think I have the choice of either solving a crime or eating a sofa. So if I have that, I'd like to eat the sofa. So I think there are more antics to come in the second season. I'm so looking forward to it.
Nice. So speaking of you not having a first name, what would you want your first name to be?
Lou.
Do people call you that on set?
A what?
Do people call you Lou on set?
Yeah. They actually give me direction and they say, can you wooify that? That's the direction I get.
Okay, Sasha, are you a Vestin or a Grimm? Or what are you on this show?
I'm just Captain Renard.
No, you're not.
It's as simple as that. There's a lot of stuff that's brewing, and there's a lot of things that are going to be revealed very soon, and it's going to be a very exciting season. How's that? I'm running for office. Yeah.
You guys are already in the process of shooting season 2, right?
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Nice,
So.
long 5-week hiatus, and then
Not
we're back.
for the writers.
5 days. Yeah.
You had a rap party, and then it was like, get back to work. So good. We want plenty of spoilers.